Question 1. A global e-commerce company wants to deploy a web application in 2 AWS regions for high availability. Traffic should be routed to the closest region for the lowest latency. In case of failure in one region, traffic should automatically fail over to another region. The solution should minimize costs while maintaining availability. Which solution best meets these requirements? Options: A. Deploy instances in both regions with an application load balancer and Route 53 failover routing. B. Use AWS Global Accelerator to distribute traffic across multiple regions automatically. C. Deploy instances in both regions and use VPC peering to route traffic between them. D. Use auto-scaling in one region and replicate the database asynchronously to another region. Correct answer: B. Use AWS Global Accelerator to distribute traffic across multiple regions automatically. Explanation: AWS Global Accelerator directs users to the nearest healthy AWS region with low latency routing. If a region fails, Global Accelerator automatically redirects traffic to the healthy region. This solution provides a global failover with minimal downtime. Why not other options? Option A. Route 53 failover works, but Global Accelerator provides lower latency and automatic failover. Option C. VPC peering connects VPCs but does not provide global failover. Option D. Auto-scaling in one region does not provide global high availability. Question 2. A data analytics company processes petabytes of data for AI and machine learning workloads. Raw data must be stored cost-effectively. Data is accessed frequently in the first 30 days, then rarely after that. The solution should automatically optimize storage costs based on access patterns. Which storage solution best meets these requirements? Options: A. Amazon S3 Intelligent Tiering. B. Amazon S3 Standard IAC. Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive. D. Amazon EFS with Lifecycle Management. Correct answer: A. Amazon S3 Intelligent Tiering. Explanation: S3 Intelligent Tiering automatically moves data between high-performance and archive tiers based on access patterns. No retrieval fees and no operational overhead. Best for unpredictable or gradually decreasing access patterns. Why not other options? Option B. S3 Standard IA is cheaper than Standard but still charges retrieval fees. Option C. Glacier Deep Archive is the lowest cost but requires hours for retrieval. Option D. EFS is expensive and designed for shared file systems, not data lakes. Question 3. A financial services company wants to deploy a 3-tier web application on AWS. The front-end must be publicly accessible via the internet. The application layer should be secured and not directly exposed. The database must be private and accessible only by the application. Which architecture meets these security requirements? Options: A. Use a public subnet for web servers, a private subnet for application servers, and a private subnet for databases. B. Place all servers in a public subnet and use security groups to control access. C. Use an EC2 instance with a public IP for the database and restrict access using IAM policies. D. Deploy all instances in a single subnet and use AWS Network ACLs for security. Correct answer: A. Use a public subnet for web servers, a private subnet for application servers, and a private subnet for databases. Explanation: A 3-tier architecture isolates the web, application, and database layers. Public-facing components, web servers, are in a public subnet. Private components, application servers and databases, are in a private subnet, ensuring security. This prevents direct internet access to sensitive application and database layers. Why not other options? Option B. Placing all instances in a public subnet exposes the database to the internet. Option C. Databases should never have a public IP address. Option D. A single subnet does not provide proper network segmentation. Question 4. A media company wants to implement a disaster recovery strategy with minimal downtime. The company needs an active-passive failover between AWS regions. The secondary region should only be used in case of failure, The solution should be cost-effective while ensuring quick recovery. Which disaster recovery strategy should be used? Options: A. Pilot light strategy with AWS DMS for database replication. B. Warm standby strategy with Route 53 failover and RDS multi-AZ. C. Backup and restore strategy using Amazon S3 and AWS backup. D. Fully active multi-region deployment with global accelerator. Correct answer: A. Pilot light strategy with AWS DMS for database replication. Explanation: Pilot light keeps minimal resources running in the backup region, reducing costs. AWS Database Migration Service, DMS, ensures the secondary database is always updated. When needed, additional resources can be quickly scaled up. Why not other options? Option B. Warm standby keeps a partially running environment, which is more expensive. Option C. Backup and restore is slow and not suitable for minimal downtime. Option D. Active is expensive and not needed unless all services must run continuously. Question 5. A company's developers need access to AWS resources for development and testing. Developers should not have direct access to production environments. Access should be controlled and audited for security compliance. The company uses Microsoft Active Directory for authentication. Which authentication method meets these requirements? Options: A. Use AWS IAM Identity Center, SSO, with Active Directory Federation. B. Create separate IAM users for each developer with inline policies. C. Provide long-term AWS credentials and store them in AWS Secrets Manager. D. Use IAM roles with MFA and share static access keys via email. Correct answer: A. Use AWS IAM Identity Center, SSO, with Active Directory Federation. Explanation: IAM Identity Center, SSO, integrates with Active Directory for centralized access control. Developers log in using their corporate credentials without needing IAM users. Access is controlled via group-based permissions and automatically revoked when employees leave. Why not other options? Option B. Creating separate IAM users is difficult to manage and less secure. Option C. Long-term AWS credentials are a security risk. Option D. Static access keys should never be shared. Question 6. A healthcare company is building a serverless application with AWS Lambda and Amazon API Gateway. The API should handle high traffic while remaining cost-efficient. It should support authentication and rate limiting. Users should access the API securely over the Internet. Which solution best meets these requirements? Options: A. Deploy an application load balancer, ALB, in front of API Gateway for better scaling. B. Use API Gateway with AWS WAF, AWS IAM authentication, and throttling enabled. C. Use a network load balancer, NLB, with Amazon Cognito for authentication. D. Deploy the API on EC2 instances behind an elastic load balancer for better control. Correct answer: B. Use API Gateway with AWS WAF, AWS IAM authentication, and throttling enabled. Explanation: API Gateway provides built-in scaling and integrates with AWS Lambda, making it serverless. AWS WAF, Web Application Firewall, protects against common security threats like SQL injection. IAM authentication restricts access, and throttling prevents abuse by limiting requests per second. Why not other options? Option A. ALB is not needed for API Gateway, as it handles traffic scaling natively. Option C. NLB does not support security features like WAF or request throttling. Option D. EC2-based APIs require maintenance and are less cost-efficient than API Gateway. Question 7. A company with multiple AWS accounts needs to connect 10 VPCs across different accounts. Each VPC must communicate securely with the others. The solution should minimize administrative overhead. Traffic should not be routed through the public internet. Which networking solution is the best choice? Options: A. Use VPC peering between all 10 VPCs. B. Use AWS Transit Gateway to connect all VPCs centrally. C. Use a VPN connection between each VPC for security. D. Deploy NAT gateways in each VPC for secure routing. Correct answer: B. Use AWS Transit Gateway to connect all VPCs centrally. Explanation: AWS Transit Gateway allows centralized management of multiple VPCs. It simplifies networking by avoiding a complex mesh of VPC peering connections. All VPCs can securely communicate without routing traffic over the internet. Why not other options? Option A. VPC peering creates a complex full mesh network that is hard to scale. Option C. VPN is unnecessary for internal AWS communication. Option D. NAT gateways are used for internet access, not for connecting VPCs. Question 8. A retail company needs a highly available relational database for its order processing system. The database should failover automatically if an AZ goes down. Read replicas should be used to handle heavy read traffic. The solution should be fully managed with minimal operational overhead. Which AWS service best meets these requirements? Options: A. Amazon RDS, with multi-AZ and read replicas. B. Deploy MySQL on EC2 with auto-scaling and backup scripts. C. Amazon Aurora with multi-AZ and read replicas. D. Amazon DynamoDB with global tables. Correct answer: C. Amazon Aurora with multi-AZ and read replicas. Explanation: Aurora is designed for high availability with automatic failover and replication. It supports up to 15 read replicas, making it scalable for high read traffic. Aurora's performance is better than standard RDS, and it automatically recovers from failures. Why not other options? Option A. RDS supports multi-AZ and read replicas, but Aurora has better scalability and performance. Option B. Running MySQL on EC2 requires manual management and is less fault-tolerant. Option D. DynamoDB is NoSQL and not suitable for relational workloads. Question 9. A financial firm needs to transfer sensitive customer data from its on-premises data center to Amazon S3. Data must be encrypted in transit and at rest. Access should be restricted to internal employees only. The solution should avoid exposing S3 to the public internet. Which solution is the best choice? Options: A. Use AWS Direct Connect with an S3 VPC endpoint. B. Upload data using a public S3 URL and enable server-side encryption, SAA C03. C. Use a VPN connection and access S3 via the AWS Management Console. D. Use AWS Storage Gateway with IAM user access keys. Correct answer: A. Use AWS Direct Connect with an S3 VPC endpoint. Explanation: Direct Connect provides a private network connection between on-premises and AWS. An S3 VPC endpoint ensures that traffic stays within AWS private network. Data remains encrypted and never traverses the public internet. Why not other options? Option B. Public S3 URLs expose data to security risks. Option C. VPNs are slower and require internet traffic to reach S3. Option D. Storage gateway is mainly for hybrid storage, not secure data transfer. Question 10. A ride-sharing company wants to process ride booking events in real time. The system should automatically scale as traffic increases. Events should be processed reliably and delivered in order. The architecture should be fully serverless. Which solution is the best choice? Options: A. Use Amazon Kinesis data streams with AWS Lambda. B. Deploy an EC2-based Kafka cluster for event streaming. C. Use Amazon SQS with auto-scaling EC2 instances for processing. D. Use API Gateway to invoke Lambda functions for every write event. Correct answer: A. Use Amazon Kinesis data streams with AWS Lambda. Explanation: Kinesis provides high-throughput event streaming with ordered delivery. AWS Lambda processes each event in real time with automatic scaling. This combination is completely serverless and cost-effective. Why not other options? Option B, Kafka requires managing EC2 instances, making it more complex. Option C, SQS does not guarantee ordered event delivery. Option D, API Gateway is not designed for high-volume event streaming.